Welcome to Spiritual Talk with Christy Godwin and Friends, an authentic podcast where we sit and discuss all things spiritual. Hello, everyone. My name is Christy Godwin. Welcome to Spiritual Talk with Christy Godwin and Friends. I have my friend Sean Rutherford here. Welcome, Sean.
Hey, my love. How are you?
I'm so excited to have Sean here. I've so admired his work. I've watched him a lot on TikTok. We became friends on TikTok, going back and forth. So real quick, I'm going to tell everyone where they can find Sean. It will be in the verbiage of the YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube or on the podcast. Sean Michael Rutherford. I love that he uses his middle name. I love that. Psychic Sean is how you're going to find him on TikTok. Psychic Sean. On YouTube, it is Medium Psychic Sean.
Medium Sean Michael Rutherford.
And then Instagram is Psychic Medium Sean Michael. And on Facebook, it's Psychic Medium Sean Michael Rutherford. Basically, if you just go to any of those search engines and search Psychic Sean Michael Rutherford, you're going to find him.
And I want to specify that I am extremely particular about grammar. Everything is spelled correctly. So if you find one that's spelled incorrectly, it is absolutely not me. My OCD wouldn't allow it.
You know, I do want to bring that up now that Sean brought that up. We are here to talk about ethics and mediumship, but the scammers are ridiculous, are they not?
They are. They are. I get messages daily from friends and people who are, hey, this is another one. And the fakes will block the original so that you can't see them. And so I can't go to the account. I can't report it. And I'm annoyed because I'm like, I have had in-person friends who know me personally, who fall for them. And I'm like, I know you personally, so we can get a little salty. What is wrong with you? And so it's unfortunate. And so I try to remind people that if you're doing something right, it means people are like, you know, this is someone that people trust. And so I just have to keep being that person people can trust and remind them that I would never do anything harmful. I'm never going to reach out to you to tell you that you need a reading. And that's it.
Actually, that does have something to do with our ethics. You know, it's in my opinion. Now, when Sean and I are talking today, I do want to say my opinion. I do not please the world. I can only say what I feel like is right from my perspective, and the same for Sean. But I do get a little annoyed when people try to use my name to take advantage of others. And so, you know, anyone listening to this, just know that no ethical medium is ever going to direct message you and want you to Venmo them money or send it any other way. Only legitimate booking sites can even do that.
I try to remind people, you know, we have lawyers and doctors and people who are well respected in their professions. Do any of them just message you via social media to say, hey, I think you need a lawyer? No. They advertise, they put themselves out there, they talk about themselves on their social media to be a source of trust for people to go to, because we can't assume that anybody needs our services. And this is an issue, you know, because in the spiritual world, we do have a long history where people have sort of done this in a traveling show as, you know, selling snake oil and things like that. But we have to remember that people who are doing this ethically are usually the ones who are in the grocery store buying oranges, going home, getting a booking or getting a call, getting a message themselves, and then responding. Because the people who do the work correctly don't need to worry about where they're going to find clients, because if you work with spirit authentically, spirit brings them to you.
I do. I always laugh whenever people make an appointment with me and they find me on whatever social media outlet. And I was like, yeah, because before I go live anywhere, I talk to the spirit world. Okay, look at your people, I'm about to go live. So if you ever feel the tug to watch Sean or me live, then it's probably one of your spirits pulling you in that direction. Because I also say that you're going to find a medium that resonates with you. And so make sure if you're ever feeling a little bit uncomfortable, just know that that's a sign that maybe you shouldn't be booking with that person.
I fully agree. We have to remember that, you know, not all people connect the same. You know, if you have someone who is red water and someone who's blue water and they make purple water, because it's all water. But someone might be oil and someone might be vinegar, and it just doesn't mix. And that's okay. Nothing's better or worse for anyone. But it's about who can understand the life that you've lived enough to bring through loved ones who want to help you in that. And I can tell you right now that I've had a beautiful life of working for a lot of people. And I've also had a beautiful life of sending people to other mediums, because at the end of the day, it's making sure the client gets what the client needs. And if
Right.
that's not with me, then my sending them to another medium is still part of the healing journey for me. And I honor that.
Absolutely. I just love that. So now, Sean, when we talk about ethics in mediumship, what is the first thing that kind of comes to your mind? What's the first thought?
Consent. It's
Yes.
always
Oh my
consent.
goodness. Yes, yes, yes. Consent.
um, I I'm a private person. I'm very private, but I'm also very transparent. Like everyone's like, how can you be that? And like, I'm a walking contradiction, so just get used to it. So I very comfortably and very honestly always vocalize the trauma that I've been through, because to hold it in makes it stagnant. To let it go allows it to flow and heal. So if I'm sharing my trauma, I have no problem with that. But if someone comes up to me and it's like, I feel like you've been through this and I feel like we need to discuss that, we are going to get in an argument,
Yes.
because it's my personal trauma to decide when and who I'm going to share it with. And yeah, I might talk about it on TikTok, but it doesn't mean that a random intuitive can just come up to me and start invading what I call my mind palace. And so when I see someone who is doing readings for someone publicly where they haven't consented, a lot of times you'll see like someone feel a loved one say, I need to tell this person who's working, I need to give them this message. Have you stopped and considered if that is a good place for that person to receive that message? I'm not saying that you're wrong, their loved one may be around, but it may be that you are being a bit too nosy, and this person could just have their loved one around them because they're stressed.
Mhm.
And you're picking up that this loved one is aware that their living loved one is stressed, and that they wish that they could tell them this. It doesn't mean that loved one is coming to you and saying, hey, go tell my loved one.
Right.
And so i've i've had I've had them move people across rooms in order to create consent. I was at a coffee shop and I was sitting there and I could feel this loved one, and I was like, y'all know my rules. Y'all know my rules. I'm Cajun. I'm salty. I will get annoyed with you real quick. With all due respect, don't bother me. I know I don't work publicly like this. I need consent. So it was an older woman, and I'm at a coffee shop and I'm working, getting my classwork done for college. And um, all of a sudden I said, look, if you want me to talk to this person, they will move across the cafe, sit next to me. They will start up a conversation about how they have lost a loved one, that they're stressed, that they really wish they could get some help, and they will introduce themselves to me, which will make me tell them that I'm a medium. And I said, other than that, no. I mean, within 5 minutes, I did nothing. I sat there, went back to my art history homework. Within 5 minutes, this girl moves, sits next to me, drops some stuff. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm just bumbling and just crazy today. My grandma just died and I don't know what to do. And I feel like I'm lost. I'm so sorry to be putting all this on you. My name's Sarah. How can I help you? And by the way, that's not her real name. That's just a name I've used.
Right. Of
And
course.
so, and she's like, I'm so sorry. My name's Sarah. She's like, I'm so sorry. And I turned to her and I'm like, I'm very sorry to hear that. I understand what it's like to lose someone. My name's Sean. I'm a medium. Is there anything I can do to help? Oh my gosh, I've always thought about seeing a medium. I just didn't know if I could or if it was too soon. Would you like a reading? And are you in a place to receive that? I would love that. Your grandmother wants me to say, they created this. And when I sat there, now in my head, the whole time, I'm like, I cannot believe this freaking happened.
Right. 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 I
But
know.
but spirit will move the
They will.
world to help you heal.
I know, especially when you're first starting out in this business, your first indication is, oh my goodness, I can talk to past relatives, past loved ones. I want to read them all. I want to give all the messages, but it's just not, some people aren't, like you said, in that place to receive the message.
Mhm.
And a lot of times people will say, well, how long do you have to wait? How long before someone crosses over can you talk to them? I can talk to them immediately. It
Mhm.
is, when are you ready to receive the message? When are you ready
Exactly.
to accept what is coming through? And you never want to, you want to cause no harm. You never want to impede
Mhm.
someone's healing. I had a girlfriend who went to, my girlfriend believes in mediumship, and she went for a massage. she's, having her massage, and I mind you, no clothes on, laying, getting the massage, kind of
Oh
vulnerable
God.
position.
Oh yeah.
And the person giving her massage starts bringing through messages from the other side. Now, my girlfriend didn't think anything about it, even when I was like, she did what? And she's like, oh yeah, she said this and this. And so then I broke it down to my girlfriend. I said, suppose you were like a very strict Christian who did not believe in anything. And not that I'm a Christian myself, so not that Christians don't believe in mediumship, but you know what I mean. You know the ones I'm talking about. And they just felt like that was demonic. Now, the rest of that massage, that person would have been very uncomfortable and not being able to get the healing that they were there for, which was a
Exactly.
massage.
Yeah. We have to think about how moments change memories.
Yes.
Okay. So if I am having a phenomenal 59 minutes of a massage and my whole world feels at peace, that last moment will change my entire memory of that hour.
Absolutely.
I've had this person who believes in things that I don't believe in, and they've been touching me, they've been in my energy. What else? Paranoid. And I mean, I had someone say this to me once, and it was very upsetting. And I had to kind of sit them down and discuss this with them, from out of my opinion. Well, Sean, that's kind of an extreme example that they become really paranoid and start, distrusting everyone. Okay, but it's an example. And whether it's extreme or not, if one person has this extremely harmful experience, does it matter that it wasn't 1,000 people?
Right.
Is it okay to harm one person because we didn't harm 1,000 people? No. And so we have to take that. And that's where, when I work, the last thing I say to my client is, thank you for letting me hold your trust in my hands. And I hope that I just gave it back to you better than you gave it to me.
I love that.
So,
And also you have to think about, your friend was saying, talking about, well, it was just one person, but it's never just one person, because if that person had left that massage upset, they're upset. That energetic vibration comes out to other people, whether it's yelling at your kid because you're all tense, or if it's, recreating that scenario
exactly.
and saying it to other people, you're spreading then that energy. And that's not, I truly believe that mediumship done right has just such a huge capacity to heal and spread love.
I couldn't
But
agree more.
it can do the exact opposite also.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not handled with care. You have someone's, like you said, trust. They're coming to you because they trust you. They trust what you're saying. Yes, you should never go to anyone, a medium, a teacher. No, you should always only take what resonates with you. But sometimes, just sometimes, when people come to mediums, they're kind of vulnerable because they're grieving and they're hurt. And it's happened to me a couple of times recently. Last week, and it was another medium who called me almost in tears, and I wasn't going to answer the phone because I was getting ready for. And so finally, you know that I've known you for a while. If you FaceTime me and I accept it, and I'm in the bathroom putting my makeup on, so that's where we were. And she had gotten a mess. She was in a group reading with some other mediums, and the message she had gotten was a little bit off kilter, and she knew it didn't resonate. She knew it, but even knowing it, she was still upset.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I really feel like as mediums, we have such a huge responsibility to heal ourselves, to make sure that we are not delivering messages through our own mess, through our own trauma and I will admit, Sean, the biggest thing that can get in the middle of a reading is your ego.
Yes.
Now, I love my ego. It's kept me alive. It's kept me safe, but I also have to understand, I have to move it aside to be able to give that authentic reading of what the actual message is.
I can't. Actually, I'm going to pose this in the question because I'm going to ask you. So, when I've been in circles and when I've been in trainings with other people who may not have learned really to get past that ego to give a message, I'm going to ask you if you can tell the number one message that comes through these practicing mediums, to be respectful, for me when they have a loved one that comes through.
I cannot imagine what it might be, that you have a trauma that you have to heal from, or.
The number one thing I get is, your mom's coming through and she's very worried about your weight.
Oh my God. Okay.
That's the first thing that comes through.
Now,
Every single time.
before this, I have to
Every
tell you,
time.
I just brought up Sean's mom before this, and we were talking
And
about
you
it.
didn't
I didn't say that
at
because
all.
that's not what she was saying.
I know. And so, because think about it is, was my mom concerned about my weight when I was growing up? Yes. But this is not something that my mom actually never talked about my weight to other people. And so my mom would talk about it to me because my mom was like, deal with your stuff yourself, you know? And so her and I dealt with our weight with each other. And so my mom would never, ever tell someone else, I'm concerned about Sean's weight.
Mm-hmm.
She barely even talked to my dad about it. So she would tell me, what do you need to lose weight? Her and I would deal with it one-on-one. And I get people who will be like, I feel like your mom is, you know, I feel like she's a woman who, she was heavy set herself. And I was like, okay, that's fair. Oh, well, she must have had diabetes or something. Nope. So a lot of this ego goes into what they see. I'm a very fat person. She was heavy set for most of her life, as long as I was alive. And so, but this is not her. That's
No,
not who she is. But
no.
they see this, and they immediately
Mm-hmm.
it goes into, well, if she's her mom, if she's his mom, and as his mother, she loves him, she should be concerned about his weight. So this must be like when she's talking about worrying about him, it must be about weight. And so when we give these messages and we're allowing ego or what we see in our personal judgments get in the way, I'm like, I can tell you right now, I know this person probably has a bias of fat phobia. Not like they're a bad person in any kind of way,
No,
but
Sean, you're
there
getting
is
my blood
this.
pressure up.
And so, but it happens with a lot of different things. This is just my example because it's the only one I can speak of from personally. Because I don't talk about things that are not from personal experience because it's my story, so I can talk about it. But
No,
this happens with other people, and so we
that's
have to.
that's what my friend, it was the same kind of thing. And that's why I was saying my blood pressure is getting up, because I see that so much.
Mhm.
They saw my friend's mother, saw my friend came to a conclusion in their head instead of what is the spirit actually saying. And I will guarantee you, in my readings, I have never had a spirit step up and say, that would never say anything like that.
Nope.
Because they come
Because
from a place of unconditional love. Now,
well,
would they,
let's also.
I'm sorry. Well, they say, Sean, you know, your mom is showing me that you went to the doctor last week and you had elevated blood pressure and she's a bit worried about that. Yes, they will say that.
Absolutely.
Not that Sean
The
does,
spirit,
just for anyone listening. She doesn't.
no, yeah. But just for the sake of, actually, my doctors get mad because I have very good blood pressure because I meditate all the time. And so,
Right.
but we have to remember that spirit isn't going to talk about the secondary issue. They're going to talk about the primary issue. Sean, you need to work on your self-esteem. Sean, you need to work on self-love. Sean, you don't need to sit there and eat a bucket of ice cream just because you're feeling depressed. You're okay. You deserve to be alive. And so they're going to deal with the thing that causes my issues with food. Because they know as spirits that the body is a representation of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And if I am not feeling as good as a person, and I'm not saying this in an ableistic way, we all have physical bodies, we all have that they're a problem, they're a problem and a half to deal with. So this is not saying that your mindset can always change your physical body. God knows in the last 10 years, I've done a lot of work and I think I'm fabulous and I ain't lost all this weight overnight. So, but I'm saying that spirit understands that our physical bodies are not as easy to deal with as we think they are. So they're not going to comment on your physical body. They're going to comment on your emotional, mental, and spiritual health that can lead you to either become more comfortable in your body, want to heal your body, or want to make the changes to your body that you may want to change, whatever they are. Spirit does not care if you're fat or disabled or whatever. They care about you being happy and sure of who you are as a person.
Yes.
And so when someone's like, oh, because you're fat, I'm like, okay, let's try again. And let's get a real message this time, because I'll clock somebody in a heartbeat. No, I won't be mean. I will not be mean ever. I'll just say, okay, I don't think that's how she would normally speak to me, but let's see what else you get. So, because in my opinion, any medium worth their weight in salt is not going to care if they get a no.
But that's everything that I've had, I was telling Sean before we got on here, I had someone step up, I brought up, I had a client, I had a spirit. She couldn't identify the spirit. And she kept saying this very well, no medium, said it was a spirit guide. Finally, after her saying that 3 times, I said, this is not a spirit guide. This is not where spirit guides come from.
Mhm.
And so after she let me describe this person, she knew who it was. It was a
Mhm.
boyfriend of someone of her friends that she dated back in high school. And if I had not really dug deep, so as
Mhm.
I mean, I have to laugh because I go live on TikTok a lot, and you give these little 5-10 minute quick mini reads, and then I get messages later. Well, what about you? Cannot no. A rich reading comes when you make
Mhm.
an appointment with a medium, and you are one-on-one, just them, not when you're on a live and there's 500 people watching and it's a 5-10 minute boom boom. So, but if you're with someone like that and you're getting this rich reading, the medium has to dig deep. They have to get past the surface, get into the meat of the situation. And that is about the core issues. Spirits do not
Mhm.
care about surface, nothing. They don't care
Nope.
because that's not
And
what's
one of
going to heal you. And that's not, it's going to make lifetime changes.
absolutely one of the things um, that I tell people is, as mediums, we have to trust spirit um, completely, because spirit is infallible. Our human bodies, our human memories, our human minds of translation are fallible. So we can mistranslate or misunderstand or forget things. Spirit won't. So if I get something wrong, spirit wasn't wrong, I was wrong, that's my bad. So a no does not faze me, because I understand that I'm capable of making mistakes. I do not say that that no is spirit not doing a good enough job. But when you said how this person did not know who this person was, we deal with this a lot. And we call it
Yeah.
psychic or mediumship amnesia, when you're with a client and the like my headlight on me right now, they in the spotlight, and they feel uncomfortable, they feel pressure. And I have this happen, whether it's one-on-one, a group session, on live, doesn't matter. Um, the need to remember old memories
Mhm.
can be difficult, because this is not a photo album sitting in front of you. This is something that's in a filing cabinet way back in the way back of your mind palace. It's not always going to be easy to bring it forward like a loved one in spirit can,
Mhm.
because for them it's still present. There is no time.
Right.
And so you talked about that. I've had a client where, I'm in a group reading, and um, her grandparents come through. She does not remember who they are. The grandparents are looking at me, laughing, like, "Oh, that's so her." And they're just like, "This is definitely her." And I keep telling her, "I know this is with you. I'm giving all these details, all this evidence." And she's like, "No, it's not with me." I said, "Okay, when you remember, let me know." I didn't say if, I didn't say I hope. Those loved ones were so sure, and I had to trust that. And I said, when you remember, even if it's after this group reading, call me. And so I'm in front of 10, 12 people, and they're looking at me like, well, first person out the gate, Sean's getting no's. Sean can't do his job. Okay, I'm human. I might fail. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm human. So I just move on. I accept the no's and I move forward. As I'm getting into the second person, she's saying yes, 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 yes. I can't say that it didn't help my confidence a little bit. And they
Oh,
were
I
understanding.
do love
It
that.
does.
Those yeses,
It
yes.
does. And so I'm like, okay, I can do the work. All right. My imposter syndrome got smaller that day. And
Right.
so all of a sudden, halfway through the second person, client number one goes, "Oh my God, I remember." And I was like, "Pardon? Who are they?" I didn't say, "What do you remember?" I went, "Who are they?" And she's like, "They're my grandparents." She's like, "They didn't die that long ago." I said, "Did you not see them very often?" She's like, "No, I saw them all the time." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot about them." And I said, "That's not the point. It's the point that they never forgot about you."
I
She
love
started crying. I'm moved back on to the other client, and she's like, "Oh my god." We have these things where people just get so pressured, and as a medium, if you're not comfortable with being wrong, if you're not comfortable with this isn't going exactly the way I have planned, if you're not comfortable delving into that discomfort,
that.
you are going to get in your ego. And now
Yes.
it's going to be about you salvaging yourself
Mhm.
and leaving everyone else in that moment out to dry.
And that's what I felt like happened because, the lady wasn't taking this. And honestly, I was about to move on when she said, I don't know who it is. I don't know who. She was about to move on. She said, yes, this other medium said it was a spirit guide. And I was like, whoop, we are not moving on because this is not a spirit guide and we are not going to let this lie. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was going to be comfortable saying, you'll
Yeah.
remember, it will come to you later who it is and I was like, no. So that tells me someone, whoever this other person was, got uncomfortable with the fact that their client couldn't place
Yep.
the person in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, oh, it's just your guide. And I call those moments like I would be like a dog with a bone sometimes. No, I know I'm seeing this. I know. Don't. I know what I'm seeing. And I say,
Mm-hmm.
Sean, it says a little different version of what I say is that the dead don't lie. I
Mm-hmm.
may misinterpret it. And I was doing a group thing one time with a medium. She's like, well, I just give what I get. And I was like, well, good for you, because sometimes I make mistakes and I may give what I'm getting, but what I think I'm getting is not because, as a medium, you get messages clairvoyantly, clairsentient. Sometimes you get symbols, sometimes you get
Every
memories,
way.
sometimes you get feelings, all kinds of ways. I say it's like being a medium is like playing charades with drunk toddlers.
Oh my God, I love that. I'll pay you royalties every time I use it. I love that. I
It's
love that.
true.
It is.
And as I am talking and saying that to Sean, there is a gentleman who is standing here laughing at me like, yeah, it really is. Yeah, I know, because I talk to you all day long. But, I love it and wouldn't change it. And there's so much healing in it. And I know that Sean has been very prevalent lately in his talk on ethical mediumship. And I do understand that my ethics, Sean's ethics, might not be other people's ethics, but do no harm. And to me, doing no harm means make sure you are willing to get your ego out of the way. Make sure you're willing to take the responsibility for making a mistake when you're bringing through something. Maybe you misinterpreted it, just maybe.
And
Also,
that is why I work the way I work, as an absolute mesha, what we say down here in Cajun territory. Now, I act like a couillon. I act like an absolute couillon. And anyone who knows what a couillon means, I mean, someone who's crazy. When I'm working, when I'm doing my mediumship readings, I allow my inner child to come out. Because I have to remember, that's why I love what you said about the drunk toddler thing, because I think I become a drunk toddler when I do readings. Our senses are the first thing that we learn to play with as a child. It's the first way we learn to communicate with the world around us, whether it's, oh, that's hot, oh, that's cold, oh, that's fuzzy, oh, that's sharp. And when we go into spirit, when we live from living and go into life, we are back into being the pure essence of energy. And this is the idea of touch and feeling, because and taste, all that is just atoms connecting with other atoms, and our bodies having to translate that through what we understand. In spirit, there's no translation needed. It's just pure interaction. And so when they come through and I'm getting this rigid, strong, upbeat mama who's strong, and she just like I ruled with an iron fist, and all of a sudden I taste bananas and pickles. I'm like, what? I find this very just jarring juxtaposition of identity. And then the loved one's like, yeah, she used to love eating banana nut bread with pickles. And I was like, not my personal choice, but okay.
right.
And I mean, I love both separately.
But yeah.
So, but I've learned that the more I get playful in my sessions, I start my session with a little welcoming in prayer. And then I'm like, all right, let's play. Let's do this. We're going to have fun. Because the more comfortable I am with that play,
Yes.
I find my ability to be thrown around by spirit easier. And so when you're like, playing charades with drunk toddlers, honestly, I think the best thing we can do is just join them, have a sip, and get to playing too.
It is. And people will say that when they come, it's like come into, I just have a conversation with them and, have fun. And if you try too hard, you create an energetic block.
Yeah.
You have to really kind of loosen into it. And so I really hope that people take away from this that there's nothing scary about mediumship. If you go to an ethical meeting first, just do your research. I mean, most
Mhm.
mediums now have, tons of things that you can get an idea of how they work from
Yeah.
TikToks or YouTubes or their website or whatever it is. And, just if you look at a medium and you kind of go, I don't know, there might not be the right, and not that they're a bad one, it's just their energy isn't a good match for you.
Yep. I agree.
And make sure you're getting evidential information. Evidence is huge.
Things you cannot Google.
Yes, and it doesn't matter what, is it a name? Is it a personality? Is it how they dressed? Is it memories? Evidence can come in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And
I pride myself on I'm very clairaudient in my work. I grew up in a very artistic household. My mother was an artist. I'm an artist. And so visual things for me were always very easy because I could see, like I could see in 3D, like, we did cake decorating for years, and I could see exactly the size of all the little piping that I needed to do, and I could see it, and how the whole cake was going to look 360. So for me, getting visual clairvoyant stuff was easy, and it made me feel uncomfortable because I was like, well, what if it's just my imagination running away with me?
Mhm.
So I would tell spirit, y'all need to talk to me. Like, I need to hear a voice. I need to hear something, because if I see something, I'm not going to trust it. And so I started working with my clairaudience, and that became stronger. And then the evidence I started getting that was, for me, the evidence that would clinch, like, this is that person, would be the conversations that y'all had in private.
Yes.
The bedside conversations when they were passing and they were
Yes.
telling you X,
Yes.
Y, and Z. And that's something that you took, that you swear you'd never tell anybody. And it became so much more, this is not saying anyone else who doesn't do this is not as good, but for me, it became more personal because I love words. And so that's where I focus when I feel like I need to make sure I'm giving very clear evidence. I could give 10 pieces of evidence. They're like, absolutely. I'm like, all right, now where's that conversation?
Right.
What's that thing that you told
Yes.
them?
Yes.
And so then I get to give that, and then I'm honored to let them hear that loved ones say those words again.
Mhm.
And that to me is the reading's done. After that, I've done the work. What else do you want to know? I've spoken for spirit. And so that's where that evidence for me is that thing that you had to have been in the room to know about
Right.
kind of information.
Consent, evidence, making sure you get yourself out of the way so you're getting an authentic message. Dig deep. I mean, whenever I'm teaching a mediumship class now, we're doing intro. And of course, intro, we don't teach digging deep. We teach,
Mm-hmm.
do you have a spirit? Because
Yeah.
it's intro.
You got it. Digging deep doesn't mean that you start 10 feet down. It means you start at the surface,
Right.
and you find your way there. Absolutely.
Exactly. And so, in advance, we'll get to that. But it is about making sure that as an ethical medium, you are, digging deep, getting the right message. It's not surface. If the way that, in my opinion, that
Mhm.
you're getting an authentic message from spirit is when it deals with the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
It's not about you yelling at your child today. It's not about spirit doesn't, just bear with me. It's not because spirit doesn't care that you yelled at your child or that you're cheating on your spouse. They care why you're doing that, because that's where the healing is going to come. So don't ever be afraid to have a reading that you think that spirit's going to judge you. They are not going to judge you. They're going to step up with concern and empathy and give you some direction on how to heal the core problem.
Exactly. Like I said earlier in the comment where the loved one, the client did not recognize his grandparents. They're after they were like, yeah, we never forgot you. I got nothing else after that. And that was that. They're like, we just want her to know that we love her and that we're here. And she messaged me a few days later. She's like, I can't tell you how much that meant to me. She's like, I felt really guilty that I forgot about him. And she's like, I don't feel guilty because I know that they just care about me.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, and that's a big deal for me in my life because I am going through things right now that I worry that they would have been ashamed of. And the fact that they're just like, we were with you regardless.
Right.
She's like,
Right.
that changed a
Absolutely.
lot of my concern about what I was doing.
Right.
And, that was just, we remember you, we're with you, we love you. And of course, I provided other evidence that she
Right.
acknowledged. But it was just that message that, in its simplicity, um, was grandiose to the client. And so that's where we have to remember in that um, I'm a Pisces. I have no problem digging deep.
Oh
I
my
will do
goodness.
the emotional hard work.
Sean, I was just going to tell you if you didn't have any, I was like, okay, do you have any other things? Because I have some questions. I was going to apologize because I didn't warn you before that I would ask just some random questions. And
What?
the first one is, what star sign are you?
So my partner is a Vedic astrologer. I try to get people to understand that that's the original, the Vedics who created astrology, the ones who started it. And in Vedic, I'm Pisces. And so he did all that for me, and he's like, "This is you," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that makes sense." And so I'm a Pisces, and I've had to do a lot of meditating with that because Western paints Western astrology, which is like a screenshot and then adapted and changed. Um, Western astrology says I was an Aries, which is this very strong, go-getter, hard-headed person. And he's like, no, he's like, Pisces are people who are the most evolved in the zodiac. They've been through every sign. To them, the emotional stuff is not that big of a deal. They're ready to just be part of spirit. They're ready to get off this mortal plane. And I was like, amen. And so, as a Pisces, though, I tell people I'm sort of like uh, the, the sperm whale of the ocean. The sperm whale is the only whale that can dive into the Marianas Trench and hunt for
Mhm.
giant squid to eat. It has the longest ability to be underwater at extreme depths, extreme pressures more than anyone else. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else, it's just my example of being a Pisces. And where the pressure doesn't hurt and they're used to it. And
Mhm.
so when I get into these emotional situations, um, I feel it, it's there, but it's more of like a weighted blanket, like this is going to be okay. And so
Mhm.
when I have these clients who are going through these emotional journeys, I'm like, all right, okay, I'm gonna help guide you down. I'm gonna help you deal with the pressure. We're gonna go 100 by 100 by
Mhm.
100 feet, and you let me know when you're getting what you need, and then I'll bring you back up to the surface. And so sometimes it's I just need to know that they forgave me, or sometimes it's I needed that apology from them. Sometimes it's okay, so they are there. It's the
Mhm.
simplest messages. And when we allow spirit to just be there and show up, that's when healing happens, because we get
Yes.
out of our heads. We get out of our heads thinking that we know what healing is.
Mhm. That's so, I'm a Pisces too, by the way.
Ah, love it.
It's so true. It's when we get
I'm
out
not
of the way.
surprised.
Yeah. You wouldn't be.
That's funny. So
It's
I kept
true.
seeing the water with you. I kept seeing water with you in your work. So I was like, I figured you were at least a water sign, but I'm not surprised you're a Pisces.
Yes. It's so true when we get out of the way. That's when we stop trying to control it and kind of go with it. That's when the healing begins. Okay. What do people misunderstand about you most?
Oh my God, can I get personal?
Please.
Okay. Uh, a lot of people misunderstand a few things about me, but I think the most is that I'm somehow mentally unhinged. So there's nothing wrong with mental health. We don't respect mental health enough in this world. So
Amen.
I mean zero disrespect to anyone who's watching this. I've dealt with a lot of people because of my weight, because of my extreme pacifism, my extreme unconditional love for all people. They make me out to be someone who is not mentally all there. Um, which is extremely derogatory and offensive in my opinion. But um, well, I deal with that a lot, and so I preach unconditional love. Every single this is such a personal topic, which what I do, which is comfortable for me, but I'm trying to put it into words. The the pattern of my life. Every single time that I fought back with anger, it has made the situation worse. Made the situation worse. It's made the cooperation and the healing of the moment impossible. And that has been learned at a very young age. I had a childhood bully who was 7 who would make fun of me because I was fat, am fat. And so I went back to her at 7 per my brother's advice. Well, if she calls you fat again, just turn around and be like, I may be fat, but you're ugly. And I can lose weight one day, but you can never fix ugly. So I did it. And she cried. And I felt so bad. And I was 7. It was the first time I realized words could hurt people. And I know what it feels like to be hurt. Why would I want to do that to anyone else? But then I got in trouble from the principal for making her cry. And I was fussed at, yada, yada. And I said, okay, well, that's definitely not going to solve anything. You know, I'm being fussed at for defending myself. The issue at hand of the bullying is not being dealt with. Okay. I was 7. So, fast forward to many, many, many more years of abuse like that, both from students and teachers and adults. And I was 13. I was in middle school library. I'm walking out. This kid calls me Godzilla. Everybody hold on. I spin around. I slapped him. Immediately felt guilty. I hit someone. Oh my God, that is not okay. There's never an okay reason to physically harm someone because now he's hurt. He's mad at you. Everyone's mad again. Okay. That didn't do any good. All right. So fast forward to the next year at 14, I was attacked by 10 guys across the street from my house at 10 o'clock at night. And I was jumped and I was beaten up and bruised. These 10 guys they were in range between 16 and 19, and they were arrested. We got a call from the police chief, who was a close friend of my mom, and they said, hey, I just want to let you know that those guys are being picked up. And just so you know, they're getting their karma. Their parents are beating the heck out of them as they're leaving the jail. I cried. I said, that's not okay, and I feel really bad for them. I mean, hours after being attacked, and I'm still like busted lip, bruised in the temple. Mom's like, what? And I said, they attacked me because they were angry. And what they understand at home with being angry is that you hit somebody. I'm really sorry for them. I still went to court, pressed charges, and they got community service, which I was perfectly fine with. Because
Absolutely.
they made the town ugly that night because people were afraid of getting attacked. So I advocated for them to have to go beautify the town. And so I realized that justice was actually being served that day because what they put out of negativity, they had to clean up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, they're making the world a better place. But I also was like, yeah, I forgive y'all. So it put me on this massive crusade of having to find the bullies that hurt me and forgive them. So at 17, I messaged everyone I went to school with through MySpace because I'm old. And I messaged them and I said, hey, look, I knew what you were going through. I was having intuitive visions. I'm a psychic. I had been studying psychism and spiritual work for 4 years around that time. And I said, I was seeing these things when we were around each other, and I'm really sorry that this happened to you. And I know I was a scapegoat, but I forgive you. And I don't want you to feel like you may have ruined my life because I'm better for it. And out of like 50 kids I messaged, 40 of them responded. And they were all like, oh my God, how did you know this was going on? Who told you? First time I got validation. And they're like, I'm so sorry that we treated you that way. I can't not believe we did that to you. I'm so sorry. I think about that all the time. It makes me want to be nicer to people because I realize how much we hurt you. And I said, well, you're forgiven. And after that, it was this absolute crusade of, I'm going to teach unconditional love. I'm going to teach that forgiveness is not acceptance. I'm going to teach that people are going through things and it causes them to act out. Abuse leads to abusive behavior. And I'm going to end this idea of having to be cruel in response to cruelty.
Right.
And so I get the response and misunderstanding of, oh, well, he must not be mentally all there, or maybe he's mentally slow, or however, that's how it's been brought to me. I'm not saying those are the good terms to use, that's just how it's been told to me. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm choosing this very difficult path of, instead of getting angry,
Right.
getting healing. feeling. And my father was extremely abusive. My mother, whom I love, was abusive. I got abuse from every area. I had adults in front of students in my classes calling me stupid.
Mhm.
And it just made the bully me more. And so I've been getting that since I started school at 5, and I'm 35. I've been messaged on social media being told that I should not be alive because of how fat I am and that I don't deserve love. And so this kind of abuse that we have to deal with, that people in general deal with, like, I choose to meet this with, I'm really sorry that you're hurting. And whatever has made you feel that you have to make me feel bad because you're upset, I hope heals for you. And you know what stops the abuse? Because I don't ever hear from them again
And
because
that's
they won't.
very true. And what I think is funny, Sean, that people think that you're weak because you're reacting back in love.
Yeah,
That's the hardest thing you can do.
I know.
They,
And
I
that's
mean,
one of the biggest misconceptions.
I don't know why people who react in anger think that that's the hard route to go.
And I
No,
want to specify, like, angry is part of being human too. So
right.
I'm not denigrating or downplaying anyone who gets angry. That's your path, and I respect you for however you choose, as long as you're not hurting anyone or yourself
Right.
intentionally. I'm with you. But it is very difficult to look abusers in the face and be like, I forgive you. I don't accept the behavior. You should be better,
Yes.
but I forgive you. Are you okay? What do you need?
And anger sometimes is positive. I mean, if anger is catapulting
Mhm.
you into the next change that you need to make in your life, that is great.
Yep.
But anger directed at another human is not okay.
Anger is the second stage of grief. And in grief, we know that it kicks us out of the denial phase.
Right.
And so anger is very, very helpful. But it comes in the fact of, are you letting anger keep you down because it makes you feel valid in your superiority over your fears?
Okay. So now next question.
That was good.
What
Good
is
point.
your
Go ahead.
biggest pet peeve?
Ha. Pet peeve. Besides my stuff being touched because of abuse, most of my big pet peeves are in person, like my personal stuff. Um, for spirituality, I will say my biggest pet peeve is um,
It can be your stuff because this is
it's
about you. This is about who is
well,
Sean.
no, I get that, but I always want to stay on topic. I'm sorry. And my biggest pet peeve is I don't like my personal space being entered. I grew up not having the ability to have personal space,
Uh,
and so if you just walk in my room when I'm on my office or something without knocking, I will absolutely get upset, and I won't get mean, but I'm like, hey, you need to knock, and don't move my stuff. Uh, don't move my stuff. Put it back where, because I live in a creative chaos, and everything I need is exactly where I need it. But I do want to, in spirituality, though, I want to stick to that because as a medium, my big pet peeve is just seeing people. Um, I don't like seeing people not be okay with um, not knowing. I don't like, you don't have to have an answer. You don't
right.
have to know something. You don't
Right.
have to be a master at all things. I I do not consider myself an expert. I say that I've done this for 20 years to give an exercise of how long I've been studying this, but I've never called myself a master. I've never called myself an expert. I never will. Um, because that's to say that there at some point is a stop in learning. And so I my pet peeve is people who don't want to sit in the not knowing.
Hmm. I love that. That's true.
That's a pet peeve.
Yeah, we can. No one knows at all. Okay,
No,
last question. One thing that your this business venture that you did not expect.
teaching. Oh, and taxes. Okay, so I don't like the business side of things. So business venture, I got into this to help people heal. I forgot. I totally never thought about the whole like legality of everything in the
Right,
background, like
right.
taxes and all that stuff. So I mean that was a big thing. But I mean I knew I had to pay taxes. I've been paying taxes my whole life. But
But it's like the whole
I just
LLC and all the things.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. But the teaching, like I come from a background where um, I was never given the authority to be someone who was respected. I hate to say that. A lot of my life was people being like, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you and so I was just doing my thing. I was just like, well, I'm gonna enjoy me because I'm all I have. And having a father telling me almost every day that nobody likes you, nobody wants to talk to you. I grew up with this really severe inferiority complex of, you know, I know what I know, but nobody else wants to hear it. So I started doing this work at 16. I started doing readings actively in practice. And at 19, I started charging. And then from then on, it was all uphill from there. And so about, what was it, 5 years, my mid 20s, early 23, 24, I did a lecture at a library about psychic work and what it means to what was it, the 10 misconceptions of psychics and tarot readers. And 20 people showed up. And I was like, what the? I was like, y'all do realize I'm nobody.
Right.
And this one guy was like, I saw your name. I saw your name at the Gypsy Market, which is a store in Lafayette. And they're like, they raved about you. And I was like, what? And so then I get on TikTok and this past couple of years and just kind of have people who are like, oh my God, I love hearing you say this. Oh my God, I want to hear more. It's flabbergasted. I was just, oh, what? All of this was really just to heal from my own trauma. This was about me just and not wanting to hold. I didn't want to be selfish with it. You know, my mom died when I was 27, and I had been studying mediumship, ethics, and spirituality, like evidential mediumship, for about a year and a half, and I used it for me for a year to deal with the loss of my mom. But then I felt really guilty that I wasn't sharing it with the world. And I was like, oh my God, Sean, this isn't fair. So you have to bring it to other people. So I just started doing it for other people. And which was the real healing part there. But I didn't expect people to just be to just enjoy me. And that was so healing to me. And I didn't expect people actually would enjoy what I had to say. And all I've ever had to say was just, I love y'all. And if we loved each other a little bit more, a lot of things would be better. And
Yes.
because when I talk about loved ones, everyone's just like shocked. They're like, "What? My loved ones are my relatives?" No, they're not. No, it's
Everyone.
everyone that we've affected 5 minutes. I reached out a lot of nurses. I've had their patients come through in a reading. I
Yes.
had I had one girl. I had one client. Her friend came through. They were sophomore friends in high school, and they only knew each other for that 1 year because the friend moved away. And it's been at the time of the reading, I think it'd been 10 years, 10, 15 years since she was in sophomore in high school. And her friend passed. She found out about it like 6, 7 years later. And the reading's almost finished. Some other loved ones came through. And right before it was finished, this woman walks up and she's like, hi, I'm her friend from high school, yada, yada. And she's like, I don't know who this is. And I was like, yeah. She says, y'all were friends in high school. It was only for about a year, something about her moving. And she's like, oh my God, I did not think, oh my God. She's like just in shock that this friend she
Mhm.
had in high school for 1 year came through. And I was like, if you would come in open, spirit will move through heaven to earth to come and tell you that they're there for you.
Yes, they will.
Because they know the impact that you made in the moment that you called them a friend.
Mhm.
The moment that you felt like you missed them when they moved and you missed them, that minute you missed them and you realize this person meant something to you, their soul remember that forever
Yes.
because that impact happened. And they will move heaven and earth to make sure that you know that you were never forgotten and that you were loved no matter what you've been through. And I try to exhibit that as a person as much as possible. And when I see people who are like, oh, we actually like hearing from you, I'm like, it means a lot because I really want um, I'm sorry, it's gonna get a little emotional. I spent my whole life being in a lot of pain. A lot of people treating me very, very poorly because they saw something in me that they were terrified that they would someday have to deal with for themselves. And I've had teachers, principals, parents, friends trash me and abuse me because I chose to be pacifistic and soft and gentle and take it. Um, and I teach the love and kindness that I teach because I know what it feels like to be constantly abused. And I do not want people to feel that way when they're around me. I want people to know that they can be healing and loving unconditionally.
Absolutely.
And so that's the one thing I really, really did not expect, that people actually could enjoy me. And that has been immensely healing to me.
Well, I think you're amazing, Sean. So
Thank you. I think you are phenomenal. I like watching you. There's something so I want to tell you that the image I have in my head that emotionally, because words are very particular to me. The image that comes in my head is a Studio Ghibli film where I love Studio Ghibli. The movies are so gentle. Um, I keep seeing this like oasis. There's this pool of water, and like I guess would be like a fountain because I see it kind of pouring out. And there's just this drip of water that just creates this little ripple across the top of the water, and it's just this serene, um, clean water, and it's just safe and secure and open for whoever needs it, and replenished by the rain, and then it's still and yet moving. And your energy is very much like that. It's just this
thank you.
um, serene pool of water that's just present and never stagnant, because there's somehow something about it's always kind of moving and fluid. And so, yeah.
Thank you. That was a beautiful visual. I'm going to have to carry that with me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome,
Thank you.
Christy.
Thank you. I want to thank Sean for being here. He's one of the good ones, people. So look him up.
Thank you.
Sean, psychic medium Sean Michael Rutherford. You can find him just if you search his name on any of the social media platforms. Again, I will have the links in the verbiage, but TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. He has a web page. I so appreciate him being here with his authentic self, and I just so enjoyed his talk today. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been doing a lot of work right now to sort of get back to a place of educating more, and because I've been feeling that push for a while, and I'm finding a place to trust that. And so when you messaged me like, I'd like to have you on my podcast, I was like, thank you, Spirit, because y'all are obviously listening. And so I appreciate you being part of that journey to become more comfortable with education and just helping people become unconditionally loving. And
Absolutely. Yes.
you are a phenomenal source of that, because you are definitely unconditionally loving. So thank you so much for having me. And it was a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you so much. And thank everyone out there for listening to this podcast, Christy Godwin, Spiritual Talk with my friends. And I just am so hoping that Sean can continue this journey with me. You never can tell when he might be on here again. There was a couple of things he said in here. I was like, this is like a topic for another podcast. So, because it sounds like we both have our goals of spreading unconditional love. I want everyone listening to go out and be the light, and just know that that little bit of love that you pass to anyone along the way just reverberates out and grows bigger. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.